so many agents and so many people overcomplicate life and what we do? How come so many agents are overcomplicating what we do? How come? Now, I'm going to tell you exactly why I believe folks are doing this in just a few minutes, but I'm highly interested in why you think this is. Or maybe you don't think people do this. But either way, I'm highly interested in why you think this exists. So if you would, type your answers into the questions pane. I'm going to have Ramiz fielding those questions, or raise your hand and leave your hand raised, and we'll take you off mute. It'll make for a very interesting talk, a very engaging talk. It won't make this boring. Now, before I address these questions or this exact question with you all, I want to talk about the importance of having and building a strong foundation in your business and in your life. I want to talk about the importance of building a strong foundation in your life and in your business. I think that we can all agree that the bigger and stronger your foundation is here, the higher you can build your empire, right? The more impact you can have in your life, right? I think we can all agree with that. Listen, I know that all of you want to make more money, right? Money solves a lot of problems for us. Now, it doesn't necessarily always bring happiness. Money doesn't necessarily make you happy, but it doesn't make you sad either, okay? It can solve a lot of problems, and we all want more of it. We all want more freedom. We want more freedom in our lives. With freedom comes joy. With freedom comes time, right? We all want our life to be on fire with our family, right? We all want a great family life, a great marriage, a great relationship with our children. We all want these things. We all want to create a lasting fingerprint in our community, in our church. We want to be part of something bigger than just ourselves. We want to help the world, right? We all want these things. But it comes back to the question, why are so many people lacking all of this? Why are so many people lacking all of this? And the reason, at least the reason I believe it to be, is because they're overcomplicating life and career and wasting time on complicated bullshit. Excuse my French, okay? They complicate everything. Everything becomes so convoluted and complicated. Instead of sticking to the fundamentals and doing the work necessary to build the foundation that's strong enough to withstand the storms in life and business. Now, like any building, house, or structure, there's a moment in the beginning, there's a moment in the beginning where you're standing there, you're standing there, you got this plot of land, okay, or this piece of land, and you're standing there with the blueprints in your hand. You got a hammer in the other hand, and I know that it can feel overwhelming, right? You got all of this stuff to do to build this foundation. Heck, a lot of you that are on this call right now just got out of new agent training, and you know exactly what I'm talking about right now. You're feeling overwhelmed. Oh my God, I got to get on the phones today. Oh my God, I don't even know where to start. I got all this information, right? How many of you can relate with that? Raise your hand if you can relate with that. You're asking yourself, where the heck do I begin? And so to begin building your foundation here, here's where you have to start swinging the hammer and just taking action. Nothing has a more profound impact on your life than the questions that you should be asking yourself right now. And that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about these questions that you should be asking yourself right now. Now, I'm going to share some stuff about myself with you guys. I'm going to share a story so that it's relatable. I asked myself some simple questions that completely changed the trajectory of my life around 20 plus years ago, right before I was going into college. Okay? It happened the summer of my freshman year in college, or the summer before my freshman year. So listen, this is what happened to me. I was a young, ambitious dude, right? I was just this young guy. I had the world, at my hands. And I thought I knew everything. I thought I knew it all. I was, I just thought I knew it all. Man, oh man, was I a dumbass though. Okay. But one thing that I didn't know was that I wanted to be a business owner. Like all of you. You all work within a business and you run a business for yourself, an insurance business. I knew that I wanted to be a business owner, an entrepreneur, okay? So let me tell you a little bit about this summer and the question that I ended up asking myself. So my buddy and I, my best friend and I at the time, we decided that we were going to take a road trip to Southern California. And he had an uncle there, a very successful uncle that owned businesses in Orange County, Newport Beach, Laguna Beach. I was in the heart of mansions, Ferraris, millionaires. I was living this life the summer before my freshman year in college. I had never seen anything like this. I grew up a middle class guy, okay? I wasn't around all these types of people and business owners and entrepreneurs, but we decided to make this trip out there. And we worked on the beach in Laguna Beach at a little pizza shop, okay? My buddy's uncle's friend owned a pizza shop literally right on the beach on Laguna Beach. And I had the opportunity to meet all of these successful millionaires, all of these people that were, successful, living in Laguna Beach, Newport Beach, living in mansions, living lives that I've never seen before. Okay. And so that experience made me want to become an entrepreneur even more. And so I lived a great summer. I had a great time. I was living it up. I loved what I was doing. I didn't want to even go to college after living there. I was like, oh man, I got to go home. So I asked myself these questions before I left that summer. And they stuck with me for the 4 or 5 years that I was in college. I wasn't the smartest kid. It took me about almost 5 years to graduate from college. But the questions that I asked myself that I'm going to share with you right now stuck with me and changed the trajectory of my life forever. And those questions were, what am I born to do? What do I want to do with my life and career? And I'm going to share the answers that I got. Okay, but I think it's pretty obvious. The answers that I got was, I want to be free. I want to build a business that allows me to have income that is so large that I have freedom. I want to become an entrepreneur, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. That was the answer that I was giving myself at the time. Okay? What do I want to do with my life? And that simple question stuck with me throughout my college career. So I went to college, and then when I got out of college, I literally 2 weeks later packed my bags and I told my parents, hey, mom and dad, sayonara, thank you for everything you've done, but I'm moving to California. Now, at the time, my parents couldn't believe it. They were like, what do you mean you're moving to California? You don't have no money. You don't have a job there. You don't have anything there. You don't know anybody. You only know that one guy. You know, he's not even your family member. But I didn't care because I asked myself that question early on in my life, and I knew what the answer was. And so I packed my bags. I had a couple $100, and I drove my car to California. And my buddy's uncle let me stay in one of his rooms, and he had this big house. He let me stay in one of his rooms, and I got more than I bargained for. He even gave me a job at his company. He owned a large computer component distribution company. And he put me in charge of purchasing components for his warehouse. And I got to get glimpses by driving around with him on these California highways, got glimpses of how it was to be a big time entrepreneur and run a business and see all of these things. And that fueled my fire even more. Okay. And so I worked with him for a few months, and I decided that it was time for me to go out and explore and get a job for myself. That's when I got a job in the mortgage business. Now, I worked in the mortgage business for a company called GMAC Mortgage. It's a big mortgage company. It was General Motors' finance arm. They don't have it anymore. It's called Ally Financial now. Some of you may know of it. But I worked for this company, and I worked there for a couple of years. And then at that point, once I learned the mortgage business, I started my own mortgage company. And I made lots of money in the mortgage business. And I was living my dream. And then all of a sudden, I made some really bonehead decisions. I was greedy. I was spending my money. I was investing it the wrong way. And then the market took a turn for the worse. And it was like a double whammy. And I lost everything. Everything. Okay? Here I was on my way to becoming a millionaire, very close to becoming a millionaire in the mortgage business. And I lost everything in a matter of about a year. And then I had to ask myself some more questions. And the question that I had to ask myself at the time was, Vince, have you had enough yet? Do you still want to do this? Are you ready to surrender? And that question is where the next phase of my journey began. Now listen, these simple questions that I was asking myself matter because they open me up to seeing something new. And I share these questions with you because I want you to ask yourself these types of questions. Questions can liberate you from unconsciously stumbling through life blinded by the smog of complacency, and it can open up your mind. Okay? Pretty simple. It's not complicated, right? What I'm talking about is not complicated. But most people don't want to ask themselves these simple questions. Instead, they want layers on layers of complexity and complicated bullshit. Why? Why is that? The reason why people complicate things, and I boiled this all down, I've thought this through. The reason why people are complicating things is to avoid, they want to avoid going to places inside of them to discover and extract the real truth that they're avoiding. Okay? When you make things complicated, you don't have to get to the real truth. Okay? You can make excuses, because with complex questions comes easy excuses. And this is why they do it, Ramiz. They complicate everything to make it easy to make excuses for their failures in life. With complex questions comes paralysis by analysis. However, you can't hide from simplicity. You can't hide from the fundamentals. The fundamentals are simple, but yet nobody or very few people stick to the fundamentals. Stick to the fundamentals to building a strong foundation. Instead, we want to complicate the shit out of everything. We want to complicate it, make it so confusing that we don't have to deal with the simplicity, the truth, and that is mastering the fundamentals. Simplicity tears the pages of your book. It tears the pages of your book of bullshit stories that keep you stuck and stagnant. Simplicity makes it easier to get started and to take action. And the reality is that most people just don't want to do the hard work and take the action. Now, that's not everybody. I'm not banging on everybody. There's a lot of people that are doing these things. But there's a lot more that are not doing these things. Now, simple questions can and will sometimes require complex answers. In fact, one of the first questions, or I should say, some of the first questions that you should be asking yourself are as simple as they get, but the answers can be complex. And that's okay, because the power of the question isn't isolated in the question itself. It's in the navigation and the discovery of the answer to the question. And this is where a lot of people struggle, Ramiz. They ask the question, but then they don't properly navigate it to get the true answer. They don't keep asking themselves why. Why do you say that, Vince? Why do you say that? Why do you say that? Why do you say that? They don't keep asking themselves why they're getting the answers that they're getting. And so they end up with these very surface level answers that don't lead them to the real truth. So I want to talk about the fundamentals for a second. The fundamentals of what we do. Okay? So I've written them down here on my piece of paper. And all of you know that you've been trained on these things. The fundamentals of Final Expense Telesales, alpha call control, selling with emotion and tonality, building trust and rapport, giving hope, praise, and empathy, active listening, takeaway selling, assumptive selling, just to name a few. Okay? Now, how many people on this call can honestly say that they have mastered these fundamentals, that they have got the foundation built around these fundamentals. Now, if you can raise your hand and say, yes, Vince, I've got that stuff whipped up, I've mastered it. Good for you. You are definitely on the right track. However, there's probably more people on this call that instead of mastering this fundamental or these fundamentals here of final expense telesales, instead of doing that, they're complicating the shit out of what we do. Instead of mastering these fundamentals and building the foundation, they're complicating everything. That's the problem. So as part of building, as part of the process to building a stronger foundation, I want you all to I want you all to ask yourselves these simple but powerful questions. Okay, Ramiz, please write these down. I want you to ask yourself, and then I want you to navigate and explore, just like I have. Okay, I want you to navigate and explore, and the way you're going to do this is that when you answer your question, when you answer these questions, you're going to keep asking yourself why. Vince, why do you say that? Okay. Well, why do you say that? Oh, okay. Well, why do you say that? Until you get to the bottom and you get to the truth. Okay? So here's the questions. The first question is what I asked myself. Who do I want to be? What do I want to do with my career? Who are you? Why are you here at North Star right now? Why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you on this webinar? Why are you working and partnering and building your business with North Star? Why? Have you asked yourself that yet? And have you got the real answer yet? Not some complicated bullshit answer. Okay? Not some surface level. I want to know the real reason. Well, I don't really want to know, but I want you to know. Because when you know, it's going to change and it's going to set you on the right trajectory. The other question you should be asking yourself is, where are you at right now? Where are you at? Are you happy with where you're at? Are you angry with where you're at? Where are you at right now in your life? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? Where are you going? Have you asked yourself these questions and have you gone deep on them? Have you asked yourself, well, where do I want to go? Well, I want to earn I want to earn a six-figure income next year in 2019. Well, why do you want to earn a six-figure income? Well, because I want to buy a new house. Well, why do you want to buy a new house? Get down to the root causes and write this stuff out. And another question you can ask yourself is, what has been getting in the way of me getting there? Some of you have been trying to make a six-figure income your whole life. What's preventing you from getting there? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Look, answer these simple questions and see where they take you. See where they take you in 2019. Keep asking yourself these questions, and I promise you, it's going to set you on a different trajectory in your life. If you're honest with yourself, if you're building a strong foundation. Some of the fundamentals of life are forgiveness, gratitude, love, mindfulness, responsibility, staying true to your word, strong work ethic. Do you have these things? Have you built these foundations yet? Because without these foundations, without these fundamentals, you will not get to where you want to go. And without these fundamentals, I don't care what else you do here. I don't care what else you do. All of it's just going to be a bunch of complicated mess, and it's not going to matter. It's not going to take you anywhere. You first need to get down these fundamentals, and then you will be on your way to answering all of those questions. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. And that's near and dear to my heart, because I know that I would not have been able to build this business had it not been that I asked myself these questions, and I ask myself new questions all the time. But I know that I would not be able to build this business had I not asked myself those questions as a young man, and had I not learned and mastered these fundamentals first before making a whole complicated mess of everything else. Okay, and I told you the reason why people make stuff complicated is because they don't want to face the simple truth of the fundamentals, the simplicity behind it, and the hard work that goes into mastering them and keeping it simple, stupid.